converting mixed numbers into improper fractions. And the kind of thing you'll be looking at is when we're looking at 1.5, we're seeing that that first circle is made of 2 halves, and then we've added on another half, and that takes you right back to the beginning, 3 halves. We're going to start with the mixed numbers, and we're going to convert those to improper fractions. So here we have 1 and 2 tenths. To represent that, we have pizza that's been cut into 10 pieces plus 2 extra tenths. So we have 10 tenths and 2 tenths. How many tenths are there in total? If we have 10 tenths and we add 2 tenths, that equals 12 tenths. And you can see now that that is an improper fraction. We have a numerator that's bigger than the denominator. Here's another one to look at, and I'm going to represent this visually as well for those of you who are finding this a little bit tricky. 3 and 4/5. What we have to do with the numbers, we're working out how many fifths we have all together. So you look at your denominator, it's fifths. So we're working out how many fifths do we have all together in 3 and 4/5. There's a formula for this. You can take the whole number, which is 3, multiply that by the denominator, which in this case is 5, and then add on the numerator, and that will tell you how many fifths you have all together. So if we do the first bit, 3 times 5, so that's the whole number multiplied by the denominator, and that's 15. Now I'm going to show you something visually here, because a lot of people, when they're doing these, they think it's all very well knowing a formula, but how does it work and why does it work? Let's have a look at what's happening here. If we have 1 bar of chocolate, and it's cut into fifths, because that's the denominator we're working with here, each 1 bar of chocolate contains 5 fifths. So if we have the 3 whole bars of chocolate, you can see that you have 5, 10, 15 fifths of chocolate to make 3 whole bars. 15 lots of 1/5 equals 3 whole ones. Remember that 15 over 5 is the same as saying 15 divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that's just taking you back to it using the inverse operation. Now we've worked out the whole number multiplied by the denominator, we need to add the numerator. So we have the 15 that we worked out from saying 3 times 5, and we add the numerator, which is 4, and that gives us 19. That tells us how many fifths we have all together. Here are our odd 4 fifths, not quite a whole bar of chocolate, just 4/5 of a bar of chocolate. And we're saying the 15 fifths that make up 3 whole bars, plus the extra 4 fifths, that comes to 19 fifths. If we look at this down here just with the numbers, remember we're saying we're going to have so many fifths. How many fifths are there? 3 times by the denominator. 3 times 5 is 15. Add on the extra 4 fifths, that's 19 fifths. Here's one for you to have a go at. Remember, whole number multiplied by denominator plus numerator. Pause the video, have a go. So that's 7 times 8. Add 6. 7 times 8 is 56. Add 6 to that and you have 62. That's how many eighths you have. 7 and 6/8 is 62 eighths. See if you can solve these. Pause the video, have a go. Remember, whole number multiplied by denominator, add numerator will tell you how many of the denominators you have. So the first one, how many sixths do we have? 2 times 6 is 12, add 5 is 17, so we have 17 sixths. 6 3/4, how many quarters do we have altogether? 6 times 4 is 24, add the 3 numerator, that's 27. And finally, 12 6/9, how many ninths do we have? 12 times 9 is 108. 108 add 6 is 114. And if you want to be really clever here, and if you remember your rules of divisibility for numbers that will divide by 3, you may have worked out that you can simplify that to 38 over 3.